All right, Robbie, what is
Okay, so problem
number
one,
today?
as all my problems, is to do with the listening. Of course, people have different weaknesses, but I've focused on the listening a bit. And I'm looking at losing track of the recording when you're listening and missing several answers in a row, which sounds like two things, but really, of course, they're interrelated. The early part of the test probably isn't going to be so much of a problem for you. It's when it gets, because like all parts of the IELTS, it gets more difficult as it goes on. So part 3 and 4 are going to be much more difficult than parts 1 and 2. So as it gets more difficult and you're listening for the answers for the questions you're doing, what you can sometimes happen is you miss one, which can be a bit panicky. So one little tip is you get some time where you get to read the questions before the recording starts, which of course you need to use. But then when the actual thing starts and you're starting to, so maybe it's question number 21, which is the beginning of part 3. So you've got the question there. You're listening out for that answer. What I would suggest is, instead of just looking at question 21, look at question 21 and 22. So you're listening for 2 answers rather than just the one. And therefore, if you do happen to miss that answer for question 1, which happens sometimes, and you hit the question 22, you'll recognize question 22 and be able to answer it. Now, question 1 is gone. So you can't help about that. You just have to carry on. But if you were still listening to question 21 and you hadn't gone on to question 22, you'd miss question 22 as well, possibly even question 23. So I would say always have those 2 questions in your head, and that will allow you to avoid that pitfall.